Yes, good evening, guys. Welcome to the interview preparation session. So, am I audible to you clearly? Please respond in the chat. Yeah. So, in last session, we discussed about the few basic terminologies related to first we have gone through the machine learning terminology, basic terminologies. In the next session, we discussed about statistics basic terminology. So today we will discuss about some basic things related to the hypothesis testing. So with in the hypothesis testings, we are doing assumptions towards our project objective. So with respect to that, the first question is, what is mean by null hypothesis? I want the answer in a layman terms. So it should be very simple, easy to understand to anyone. So first question is, what is mean by null hypothesis? Yes, guys, please write your answers in the chat. Okay, quantity measured is 0. Zero hypothesis. So this null hypothesis is nothing but your basic assumptions from your observed or test data. So there is no statistical significance of. Yeah, very smart answer, Vishwanath. Opposite of alternative hypothesis. Yeah, it's opposite of alternative. Then what is alternative hypothesis? We will go into that question. Okay, I will tell you the answer. The hypothesis that is that the sample observation results purely from a chance. So that is nothing but your null hypothesis. So the null hypothesis always tends to state that there is no change. So this is the meaning behind null hypothesis. So hypothesis that sample observations result purely from a chance. The null hypothesis tends to state that there is no change. So this is nothing but a no difference between actual and observed data. Yeah, we can say like that. That is nothing but a null hypothesis. Very first hypothesis. So the meaning I can tell you with the help of the example of a coin. So while flipping the coin, there are only two possibilities, that either a tail will come or head will come. But if you go on experimenting for a number of times, then also you are not able to tell the what is exactly going to uh, give come as a result. So that is nothing but your a null hypothesis. But if you are taking a coin which is having some deflection towards any one particular class, that we are changing the physical appearance of that coin, then that is not a null hypothesis. So this is the prime difference between the null and alternative. So that's why null hypothesis is never tends to change. There will not be generally change. So we are trying to reject that. So that is the meaning behind this null hypothesis. The hypothesis that sample observation results purely from a chance is having a proper meaning towards the null hypothesis. By its basic nature, what kind of outcomes it is giving, probabilistics outcome it is giving, that is nothing but your null hypothesis. Clear, guys? The next question is, what is mean by alternative hypothesis? Yes, SAM H1. So that is the representation of this alternative hypothesis. But what is the meaning of that alternative? I explained that meaning earlier, but just you have to frame it in the words, those things. Yeah, exactly right, Vishwanath. So it's the hypothesis which is what we call, which is influenced by any external effects or cause. That is nothing but a alternative hypothesis. The alternative hypothesis states that a population parameter is smaller, different than hypothesized value in the null hypothesis. Yeah, but we are trying to define it, Sam. So you're telling the properties of that. So that is fine. But the exact answer given by the Vishwanath, so it's the hypothesis that the sample observations are influenced by any some other cause, non-random cause. So that is nothing but a alternative hypothesis. The hypothesis that sample observations are influenced by some non-random. Such kind of hypothesis is nothing but a alternative hypothesis. So the next question is related to the, these are very basic questions related to hypothesis testing. So what is meant by p-value? P-value or probability value? This guys answer for this question. What is meant by p-value? Okay, so you written a ipsita condition, that is a right answer. So that is a condition to check the probability or significance of that assumption. It is a primary value used to quantify the statistical significance of the results of a hypothesis. Okay, determine your level of significance. Yeah, so you are right that that value is just used for checking the statistical significance about our statement, assumption statement. Mhm. Yeah. So it is nothing but the probability of obtaining. It's a probability of obtaining the observed results of a test by considering or by assuming that null hypothesis is correct. Is correct. So that is nothing but a p-value. P-value smaller means there is a strong evidence in favor of alternative hypothesis. So this is a meaning for this p-value. The probability of obtaining the observed results of a test, assuming that null hypothesis is correct. So this hypothesis testing is nothing but assumptions based on the assumptions. Whatever may be the assumptions you are putting it, those observations you are trying to just test those observations based on certain techniques. There are few more questions related to this hypothesis testing, like in interview generally asked, so what is mean by type 1 and type 2 error, so what is the difference between that, so all those things also they will ask in your interview, actual real interview sessions. So these are a few things related to the hypothesis testing. We are not going into the depth of the tests and all. So the next, I will look for a few more terminologies related to. Okay, so we will look for some basic after this basic terminologies related to neural networks. As all of you are aware about these neural networks. So first question is what is meant by neuron? What is meant by neuron in neural networks? Yeah, okay. Okay, Ipsita. It combines input layer, hidden layer, and output layer. Others? Neuron is a connection point in an artificial neural network. Okay. Okay, I will give the answer for this question. So it's a node in a neural network. So typically it is taking multiple inputs and generating one output by, by applying by applying activation function. Weighted sum input values. So this neuron is nothing but it's a node in a neural network. Typically, it is taking multiple inputs and generating one output by applying the activation function to weighted sum of our input values. So that thing is nothing but a that node is nothing but a neuron in neural networks. So this is very basic term related to neural networks. After that, next question is, what is mean by weights in neural network? So what is meant by weights in neural network? Okay, that transform input data within the hidden layers. Weights represent strength of connections between the units. Weight is a parameter within neural network that transform input data within neural networks, hidden layers. Okay, so a weight represent the strength of the connection between the units. If we go into the meaning of your answers, so the answers are correct, but I can frame it in a different way, that answer. So these are nothing but, as you are telling that, that is just tweaking our model while training with the, as we assign the weights to our model, it just tweaks our model. So that is nothing but, these are nothing but ages in a neural network. The goal of training, the goal of training is to determine the optimal weight. Weight for each feature. If weight is equal to 0, then we can say corresponding feature does not contribute. So it's nothing but an age in our neural networks, means we are that we just trying to optimize that age in our model. So if we are able to optimize that part, then our model is having a good features which are contributing towards our prediction. So that is nothing but a weight in neural networks. So the next question is, now we know about what is meant by neuron, what is meant by weights. So based on that, what is meant by neural network? Okay, so neural network is a network or circuit of neurons, multiple neuron connected with different hidden layers. Okay, it is a technique which will make the human brain. Okay, so it is nothing but it is composed of neurons. Contains activation function that makes it possible to predict linear outputs. Okay. Composed of neuron contains activation function that makes it possible to predict non-linear output. So such kind of network is nothing but a neural network. So next question is what is meant by activation function? It's complex. Okay, it activates neurons to produce correct output. Okay, it is convert linear function into non-linear. Yeah, yeah, very simple and crisp answer you have given, Vishwanath. Relu, TANH, softmax, ELU, those are the activation, right? Those are the activation functions. Nuri, you have given the right answer that it activates the neurons to produce correct output. But what is that? That is nothing but a function, right? So which kind of function? It's a mathematical function. Like here mentioned Vishwanath, that linear function to non-linear function. Just in with the help of this activation function, what we are doing, we are just adding the non-linearity to our model. So it is nothing but a mathematical function that introduces non-linearity to network. So that is nothing but an activation function. It is just adding the non-linearity to our network. So next question is, what is mean by optimizer? In our logistic regression, we seen that for segregating two classes, we are fitting one line, that is a straight line. With that, we are just segregating the two classes. But in a neural networks, we are having nonlinear kind of fitting lines, fitting functions we can call, so that can segregate the classes in between. So we can think in that way also, that activation functions. So next question is, what is meant by optimizer? Okay. Okay, Vishwanath. Yeah, it can reduce the loss, right? Okay. So optimizer is nothing but operation that changes weights and biases to reduce loss. So those are nothing but optimizers. Like there are Adam optimizer is there that we use in our neural network while doing the assignments, and Agrad also there. So these are some kind of optimizers, some types of optimizers are there. So the next question is, Yes. So the next question is, what is mean by regularization? Yeah, right answer, Manoj, to avoid stop overfitting. Reduce the overfitting, right? The technique used to address overfitting and feature selection. Nothing but regularization. Techniques. So this regularization is mainly used for this to address the issue of overfitting, and also in some cases we are using it for feature selection also. So what are the different tell me the names of regularization technique, as all of you are aware about. Okay, so I'm asking about our machine learning concepts. There are techniques, yeah, lasso and reach. Yeah. Okay, so most of you are aware about that lasso, reach, that we are calling it as also as L1, which as L2. Next question is, what is meant by lasso regression? So what is meant by lasso regression? This guy's answer to this question, what is meant by lasso regression? Yeah, absolute value of slope, right? Yeah, it tends to zero, absolute zero. So that is also a right thing related to the lasso. So it's nothing but a regression technique which adds absolute value magnitude of coefficients as a penalty term. Loss function. So that is nothing but a lasso regression. Regression technique which adds absolute value of magnitude of coefficient as a penalty term to the loss function. If you see the equation of that lasso regression, you with that also you are able to understand. So the next question is, what is meant by ridge regression? By looking at the definition of lasso, you can frame it with with changing some certain things related to reach. You can frame that definition. It is both of the regularization techniques are same, just there is a difference of a penalty time. L2 norm function in the ridge coefficients are approximately in rigid, yeah, there are coefficients will never be zero. Model tuning method that is used to analyze any data, suppose multicollinearity. Okay. It minimizes the sum of squared residuals. Yeah, this is a regression technique, so that is right. It is robust to outlier because due to square. So this is lasso regression, ridge regression is nothing but it is also a regression technique. So which adds, just I will make some changes in this statement. Previous squared magnitude of coefficients of penalty term to the loss function. So here the difference between these two is, here the absolute value of magnitude of coefficient is there while adding it into the penalty term, and here the squared value of that will be there in the ridge regression. So this is the basic main difference between the lasso and ridge regression. So among the next question, lasso which it is used for feature selection. The lasso and ridge, which technique is used for feature selection? Yeah. Can you justify the answer? Everyone? Everyone is giving the right answer. That lasso. Do you have justification for that? Just type it in a chat window. If you see, look at the answers given earlier, you can tell the reason behind that, why L1 is used as a feature selection tool or in some algorithms. Yeah, so the penalty term tends to zero in the lasso. So because of that, we are able to figure out that which feature is contributing towards our prediction. So that is the basic reason that lasso is used as a feature selection tool also in some projects. Yeah. Okay. Penalty factor, that how many feature are retained. Yeah. So that penalty factor, yeah, square. Okay. So this is all about some basic terminologies related to the hypothesis testing. After that, neural networks, and after that, related to the regularization. In few upcoming lectures, we will go through more basic terminologies related to the few more algorithms also. Okay, so that's it for today. After the completion of this basic terminologies, I will go into the comparison between the two algorithms, why we are using ensemble technique, why we are using random forest, why we are using bagging instead of boosting. So there is also application based knowledge, we will go into that part also. After that, mostly the questions uh, come into, or they will ask in your interviews from that part, how good you are in choosing any algorithm for your project. So selection of the algorithm is the key criteria. So that's why they are looking for how good you are in terms of applications of every algorithm. So we will go into that part also. Okay. So thank you guys. I'm stopping the lecture over here. So we will meet in the next class. Okay.